but I couldn't imagine the tale ever being finished. There were too many things I didn't know, like what had happened to Da. He was missing, and I could hardly understand how the whole world was just carrying on anyway. And not just carrying on, but doing it with such energy. It seemed to me then that if I could have flown into the sky and looked down, I would have seen that Weston's on that day was the busiest place on the planet. That spring, hundreds of people were getting ready to head out to the prairie. Have you heard of the prairie? It was once the wildest bit of land, thousands of miles with nothing on it, but you had to walk across it if you wanted to seek your fortune in the wild west of America. Customers from every land in the world were coming and going as they got ready for their trip. From inside the wagon shop, you could hear the steady bang of the blacksmith's hammer. Wagons were being built, and horses and oxen were having their metal shoes put on. It was a sound which made me homesick, because it reminded me of my uncle Aidan's forge back in Ireland. I wanted to cry, but I think I was running out of tears. I was such a long way from home. I was sitting on a hay bale, abandoned at the side of the road on the corner of streets called Liberty and Kansas. Perhaps the hay had fallen off some passing wagon. I was so busy thinking that I didn't even notice the old Indian man arrive. "You are young," he said, looking at me. "Yet your face is old." I don't think I replied. I thought he was probably right. I was just a kid, but I felt old. I carried on sitting, but so too did the man. Indeed, he sat so still that after a while it caused me to look up in case something had happened. Under a wide-brimmed black hat, his eyes smiled at me in silence. He had grey hair and a lined face of deep brown. I knew he was an Indian. Back then, people told terrible tales about them, but he seemed nice. To be honest, I was too tired to feel frightened. I think I thought that all the worst things in life had already happened to me. After a moment, though, I felt I ought to say something. "My brother Henry and my friend Jack, they're buying a wagon so we can carry on. Jack's done drawings of what is wanted," I explained. The man nodded. "You go west," he said, as if he were simply stating a fact. He was right. We were about to head west in a covered wagon, just like the hundreds, maybe thousands of others in the town. My unexpected companion sat looking at our cart and its heavy load for a long time without saying a word. I think it made me uncomfortable. "It's a printing press," I felt I ought to explain. "You use it to—" He smiled as if he didn't need my explanation. "Yes." I carried on anyway. "Tell stories, make books and newspapers. We're going to make a newspaper in a place called Oregon." The old man sat so still and silent that I felt I needed to say something else. In my family, there were so many of us that I wasn't used to such quiet. "My dad made the press himself with my Uncle Aidan back in Ireland." "Ireland," he repeated, as if he liked the sound of it. "You wear funny boys' trousers," he added. I looked down at my trouser legs. They were funny, I suppose. Not just that I was a girl wearing trousers, but that I was Irish and my clothes were silk with Chinese patterns. Such a lot had happened. Now I nodded. "We're going to Oregon, and I'm hoping I'll have a horse. If I have a horse, I will need to wear trousers, although maybe not these ones." This seemed sensible to the Indian gentleman, who said no more about it. I'm not sure how an old Indian man and I ended up washed against each other in the sea of people streaming through the town of Independence that morning. You would have supposed there were no quiet corners where a conversation might even have taken place. Certainly no one else seemed to have time for a chat. Noise erupted from every living thing, and everyone was busy being, well, busy. Bearded men in boots and long coats with hoods hurried past, jingling coins in their pockets, while Mexican fellows in bright colours called out in a strange tongue as they herded dozens of braying mules. Their unbelievably wide straw hats hid their faces as they pushed along the noisy animals. Smoke spilled out from the men puffing on foul-smelling cigarettes rolled in what looked like the husks of corn. Giant wooden wagons, some carrying sacks of wool or the hides of animals, others filled with people of every age and size, were trundling along everywhere. They creaked and groaned with the weight of their burdens as whooping riders